able to get it going. And here we are, Detroit Lions at home, won a division, 12-5, going up against a red hot Rams team, 10-7. They're arguably the hottest team rolling in to playoff weekend. Brady, how do you see this one playing out with the swippy swappy of the QBs?
I mean, first and foremost, hats off, claps around for the NFL script writers. You did it again. Great game here. You can't ask for a better game scenario for Sunday Night Football of the NFL playoffs wild card weekend. Um, Rams are looking good. Detroit's kind of all over the place. They looked really good at some points. They kind of struggle at others. But I still think that the Detroit Lions overall are a better team. And I think they're coming in more ready. You know, you look at week 18, Lions played their starters versus Minnesota. I know it wasn't the best game, but like these guys all went out there. They played the full 4 quarters. There was no taking breaks. And now you got these guys. They're ready to, they're pumped up. They're going. Whereas the Rams, they sat all their starters. They're coming in. It's almost like, like they took a bye week. And I don't know if that's the good. I know Sean McVay doesn't actually have the best record coming off the bye. And if you look at it that way, it's not the prettiest scenario. And then with that as well, this season alone, the Rams as underdogs 8 times this season, only 2 victories out of those. So being an underdog right now doesn't play in the favor. It doesn't help them going into this. So I like the Detroit Lions here, especially with the 3-point money line. Give me that as well. Because if you look at the field goal kickers right now, ever since the Rams let Matt Gay walk to Indianapolis Colts, who actually helped them win a lot of games this year, they are one of the bottom teams for kicking in the NFL this year. They're 32 of 43 for field goals and 32 of 37 for extra points. That wasn't very, that sounds okay, but NFL wise, that's not good kicking. And you need those points on the board. So kicking battle wise, I think the Lions are going to be able to get into the touchdown, get in the end zone easier, and they'll be able to make their field goals and extra points more likely. So I like the Detroit Lions here.
No doubt, you're not getting nothing past Brady.
That's a savvy take, throwing in the kicking woes of the Rams, which are legit. Legit, that kicker has not been good for them this season. So that's big. I liked that Detroit played the starters and they went for the 2 seed last week. What ended up happening though, Sam Laporta banged up pretty seriously. Their kick returner / gadget play guy, Khalif Raymond, he was banged up as well, and Jamison Williams is still banged up. So I'm concerned for the Lions with the complementary perimeter players. Obviously, St. Brown is the bell cow there in the passing game, but you got to have peripheral, extra weapons to utilize. So that is a little bit concerning on Detroit's side. Should this turn into a shootout and they can't control the game on the ground, I think they are going to be able to have balance and take care of things on the ground for the most part. But the Rams are quietly the 10th best defense in rushing yards allowed on the season, which when I saw it, I was like, man, I wouldn't have guessed it from a Rams team. But it does kind of make sense because they tend to get into shootouts as well. I think this game is going to be no different. I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think it's going to be kind of last man standing with both barrels of the gun smoking. Both teams have been very good at taking care of the ball over the past 3 games, so that's trending in the right direction for both of them. And the Lions over the last 3 games have been taking it away at almost 3 per game, which is a plus for the Lions. I think the Rams are a very live dog in this game, but I think I'm going to side with Brady. I'm going to go Lions at home. They get their first playoff victory in forever, like Eddie said, since I was a kid. I can't remember. But I think they snag one here. How about you, Sam?
First off, I think this is the game of the week. This is going to be an awesome game. Both teams are really into it. Couple of things with the game that I think are going to be deal breakers. So it's going to be quarterback play. First off, I've seen Jared Goff really struggle to move the ball down the field throughout times of the year. And the past couple games, I've been watching Matthew Stafford and the Rams very closely, especially here in fantasy. I had Puka going through the fantasy playoffs. So really watch him closely. Stafford has missed some throws that he does not miss very often. Missing wide open wide receivers, and a lot of the throws are off his back foot, and are difficult throws, but throws that he's made throughout his career that he's missed. So I think that's going to be a big part of it. And I also think the coaching is going to be a big part of it. Dan Campbell is a culture guy, and he has balls. Sean McVay is a culture guy and a scheme guy, and he is very smart, and he's a very good coach. And I think if it comes down to coaching, which is very possible at the end of the game, I think that Sean McVay is going to outcoach Dan Campbell, because I love the balls that Dan Campbell has, but it has come back to bite him in the butt a couple times this year. So if it comes down to that, I do like the Rams winning. As far as just general before the game betting, I like the Rams. I would probably take them on the spread because the Detroit Lions are a really good football team. But I would not be against taking the Rams even without the spread on the money line. But if I would bet on it, would definitely be the Rams with the spread. I think that they can come in and they can, if Matthew Stafford can make those throws, Puka, Kyron, and Cooper Kupp can all make plays throughout the game, and AD can be a force on that defense, I think that they can come out and win this game.
Absolutely. There's top center for the Detroit Lions, Ragnar. I'm butchering. I'm not really a butcher, so it's even worse. They're terrible cuts. They're not even straight line cuts. They're just all type of choppity chop. But the center, he's chipped up. And the two that Charlie just named as well, Laporta and Khalifa, are definitely doubtful and probably won't even suit up in this game. I'm going to go ahead here, and I'm going to say that I'm going to take the seasoned veterans that have been there and done that already. You got Kupp, you got Stafford, you got that coaching staff. They've all won before. They all know what it's like and know what it takes. And on the other side you got Goff and coming up short. So this is a very big deal for him. He claims that it's not a personal, emotional thing for him. But, I mean, you wouldn't be human and you wouldn't have emotions or empathy if you didn't have feelings towards this game in a manner in which is directed over to the opposite sideline, in my opinion. I mean, you just wouldn't be a human being at that point. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going red-hot Rams here. I'm taking the points, and I'm going to go on the over here because I just think potentially the Rams are here, and no one thought that they should or even were capable of getting here. One of the youngest teams in the NFL, with an aging quarterback and some running back problems mid-season on a guy that they drafted. They had to get rid of him, and then a rookie that they drafted showed up and showed out out of Notre Dame, playing very well. Everything just started clicking right for this team. Do you guys think that if Goff can't win in this playoff stint here, do you guys think it's possible, and there's a large possibility that this team could get healthy and come out next season and be the team they should be if they lose this week against the Rams? Because there's no happy ending where both these teams win and move forward. One of these quarterbacks have to lose. Do you guys think that potentially Goff has it in him moving forward, not necessarily this season, but this season or next? You think it can be done in 2 seasons? Super Bowl champs, Detroit Lions.
I mean,
That was a lot.
But I could say yes in the sense that I can see him winning, but it's not going to be on his shoulders, right? That's the reason the Rams moved on from him and traded for Matthew Stafford, is because they needed a quarterback that when it came down to it, that they could rely to put the game on his shoulders, he would win it. Now, it's not like a terrible knock on Goff, but if you give me a routine quarterback that's not going to take too many risks, he's going to find the open man, he knows when to get rid of the ball, you hand him a good running back system and a great O-line, he's going to look really good. With the Lions, though, they've had their defensive woes. We thought they were going to be a little bit healthy. The big defensive back splash, C.J. Gardner-Johnson that they picked up, hurt after 2 games. He finally comes back here in Week 18, immediately makes an impact with a pass breakup and an interception. So, if they lose, there's a lot more, I think, rebuilding, because I think they have a lot of contract issues that they have to work through. I think a lot of it is put into this season playing really well based off how well that offense was last season before moving on for more of those players.
Yeah, I think win or lose for the Lions, period. My personal feelings about it is this is their ceiling. I don't think it's going to get better for the Lions moving forward. Number one, the NFC, even in their division, is going to continue to get better. Chicago's going to get better no matter which direction they go with the Justin Fields thing, because they got draft picks. And Green Bay certainly is right on their tail, regrouping, and they're going to be better. I think this is the Lions' shot, man. I think if they do end up losing it, I think it really could be damaging moving forward for the whole team. Jared Goff, personally, I think he is who he is. He's a Kirk Cousins type of guy who can make some plays and can win you some games individually. But he's much better when he has a balanced attack and he can work off of that. And the defense is playing good. And they've tried to play catch up with the defense this season. You can't expect leaps and bounds in one season. I think they've drafted really well. They brought in some good free agents this season to help make that side of the ball a lot better than it was last year. And I think that's why they're sitting in the playoffs where they're at with the home game this season. But Jared Goff individually, I think you know what you're getting out of him at this point in his career. I don't think it's going to get better. I don't think it's going to get that much worse either. He's got a nice arm. His decision-making still baffles me sometimes. I've never been high on a guy. But you could do much worse than Jared Goff. I will say that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I think I don't see them winning the Super Bowl this year, and I don't see them being a Super Bowl winner with Jared Goff at the helm. But there is a way for that to happen. There is a possibility, but I think a lot of stuff has to happen. They've got to be able to do it in the next year, 2 at the max, while they have all these young guys that they're not paying the hell of a lot of money. And they've got to really hit the draft, and their defense has to become like a top 5 defense in the league. And on top of that, then they have to get lucky on some matchups in the playoffs and play a team in the Super Bowl that does not have an elite quarterback, and they just have a really good game. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen. It could happen, but at the end of the day, if I had to answer it right now, no, I don't think they could be a Super Bowl contender or a Super Bowl winner. I'm sorry.
No doubt. Matthew Stafford, 39-65 on the yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 interception. Jonathan Goff, 45-75 on the yards, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I think Goff is having a pretty decent year. Pretty decent year. I think that to answer my question, if it's going to happen, I believe that it could happen this season or next. I do agree with Sam wholeheartedly that these cards in the wind, it's just going to have to blow just right, kind of like how it went for Matthew Stafford when he came over from Detroit over to the Rams to make that push. But they had a really good team already. So Goff has been enduring the pain of coming over to Detroit and trying to make them a better team. And so far, so good. You finally reached the playoffs a couple seasons later. I think, better late than never, right, guys?
Super Bowl's hard, man.